بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. So today's new maxim, jurisprudential maxim, is قاعدة السلطنة. Sultana, not from Sultan, has nothing to do. Yes, it has to do with authority, but not the government. Sultana means that a person has full control over one's wealth. People have full control over their wealth, and they can dispose their wealth and they can manage it the way they like. Including, this is a question, including the haram.
Sure.
But the fuqaha, they say التصرفات المحللة. تصرفات المحللة إلا في مورد الضرر والحرمة. They have full freedom, full control, full freedom, except when it hurts, and plus when it is haram. Hurting such as what? When there is darar. Someone is using his money to hurt himself, herself, or others. Such as what? Such as someone buying a gun. We know this person is going to buy a gun to hurt either himself or to hurt others. Then this freedom is curtailed. Buying weapon to kill, to destroy, to ransack, not to defend. Sometimes buying weapon to defend my house, my country, myself. Sometimes no, I know he has a plan. We know he has a plan. He said, I'm going to buy weapon to kill those people here. So this freedom is curtailed. Maybe you have the right to take the money away from him, strip him out of that money, or put hold on that money. Not taking away, meaning taking it for you, no. But disable him. Do not allow him to buy something that he's going to hurt himself. He's going to buy poison. He's going to buy poison to kill himself with the poison. So here, the freedom here is curtailed. And the second, committing something haram. Such as what?
Buying alcohol to drink.
Exactly. To buy alcohol with it. Or to go to Las Vegas, to gamble with that money. You don't allow him, you take the money away. Or not you take the money, you put a freeze, let's say if you can. You put a freeze on his account, so he cannot withdraw money. He cannot withdraw cash money to gamble. This is darar wal hurma.
So if someone is very rich, say I'm gonna throw some money
Where? In the street?
in the street.
Throwing the money in the street, others are going to use it. Good. It's something good, in fact, if he
Or burn.
does that in a poor areas, so people are going to benefit from that money. It happened. They robbed a bank and they showed that on television. And they were chasing them for 3-4 hours. Eventually they went to South Central and they started throwing the money. And people saw that on television, so they were expecting them. People were standing on both sides of the road and cheering them. So if that is the case, it's not being wasted. In fact, it is being used in a good way to feed the people. But burning it, yes. Tasallut does not mean that. Tasallut, it means you can do transactions, you can travel with it as long as you are not hurting yourself or others, and as long as nothing is illegal. Or he's buying drugs. Let's say he wants to take this money, this amount, this cash, and exchange it with the drugs. Should we allow him? Should we say this is a freedom of transaction, freedom of economy, financial freedom? This is his money. He's free? No, he's not free. He's not free because he's doing something illegal. And in fact, what is illegal also is going to hurt. So they are the same. What is illegal, such as murder, such as drugs, such as, committing suicide, is also, it's a form of hurting oneself or others. So in that case, his freedom is curtailed. Other than that, الناس مسلطون على أموالهم.
So whom is the one who would prevent him from?
Who? حاكم الشرع. Who?
Like in old days. Now, any bank would have some mechanism, but
in old days, there is حاكم الشرعي.
they would keep their money
In every
at home.
society, there is someone who's appointed to be the governor, the wali. Wali is called either wali or hakim or emir or whatever, He's the one who should not allow this sort of damage to take place. Where do we take the madrak of this, qa'idatul sultana? From the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, الناس, people, musallatuna, they have full control ala amwalihim. Of course, the full text, the full hadith, amwalihim wa anfusihim also, and themselves. For instance, I want to travel, I have a freedom with myself. You can't restrict me from traveling. I need to move from this state into another state. No one can force me and say, no, you stay here. I want to travel, leave the country. So they have freedom. I want to marry this person. You can't say no, you cannot marry. I have the authority of myself. Unless that marriage is haram. You are marrying someone who's, let's say, related to you. She's rida'a through nursing. Then, because other than that, people are free. مُسَلَّطُونَ عَلَىٰ أَمْوَالِهِمْ.
Somebody actually left millions of dollars for her cat.
That is also, maybe in our countries we don't accept, but in other cultures, they say a cat, a dog. It's if that is acceptable in the society, it's not something very weird. It's acceptable. The society says it's okay, then it's okay for the cat and whoever is taking care of the cat. But definitely she has a formula for that. So she doesn't give the money to the cat itself. Probably.
There's a state.
Huh?
There's a state.
Yeah. And then if the cat dies, let's say they will do, I don't know, memorial for her, and skyscrapers, they make waqf for her. I don't know. They can find ways. Yeah, I saw that. Another one, she gave the money to the dog. She was in New York, old lady.
Yeah.
Millions of dollars to her dog. But this is not haram. Neither she's hurting. Maybe she's doing something unwise. Unwise, of course, unwise. Because she can save thousands of lives with this money. but she's neither hurting nor doing something illegal. Maybe the society here would accept, in our country they say no, probably illegal. But in some societies where animals, they have value, you know, they would accept that.
Unless she has kids and she's preventing them.
Maybe. Yeah,
So somebody,
yeah. So,
what happens if you get your money through illegal means?
legal means or illegal, huh? Illegal means, this is another issue. This is, you don't have, we will come to this. When someone puts his hand on something which is ghasb, does not belong to him, then this is not his money. Therefore, that maxim does not apply to him. The maxim applies ala amwalihim, their legal money, the money that you earned through halal means. But the money, let's say that is stolen or does not belong to you, doesn't belong to you. Ghasb, this is ghasb, taken by force, then this is not amwalihim. This is amwalul ghayr. This is the money of others. Therefore, you don't have tasallut, you don't have authority, you don't have control over it.
So you have no restriction.
On
If
what?
you steal the money, you have no restriction.
If it is not your money,
Then
you,
it's
you
fine.
don't
You
have
want.
you don't have control over it. You should leave it.
But somebody actually deprived her son of the inheritance and gave the money to her dog.
Ah,
I think
listen
the
to
dog
this.
was
No. See, rule of inheritance in Islam is when someone dies, he has no control over his wealth after his death. No control. The wealth is not yours, not mine anymore. It has to be distributed. Even if you don't like one son, let's say, one daughter, or one wife, let's say, still the money goes to them because it's not your money. You don't have tasallut over it after death. The wealth is distributed according to the Sharia, Islamic law. The wife, if she has children, she gets 1/8. If she doesn't have children, 1/4. Then the rest is distributed between the sons and the daughters. So he cannot say my inheritance goes to this dog or to this cat. It goes to his family. Even if he says my inheritance goes to my friend or to my Islamic center. No, you can't. Yes, in your lifetime, you transfer the estate, whether it's cash or property, to an entity, to a person, you can do that. Musallatun. Here you have control. Someone before he dies, he or she dies, they transfer the money. So the transaction, the intiqal, the hiba, the gift, happens during their lifetime. This is musallat. He has control. But after death, he cannot say my wealth goes to this and that, because this is not your wealth. Once you die, it's not your wealth. This hadith has been supported by other hadiths from other imams, riwayat, that has been mentioned in Mu'amalat, in the chapter of Mu'amalat. One of them is the As-Sadiq, alayhi salam. Al-Imam As-Sadiq. There are a couple of hadiths. It's a long hadith. ما يجوز للإنسان ما يجوز للإنسان إنفاق ماله وإخراجه بجهة الحلال في وجوهه. It is up to the person, the owner, to dispose his wealth, but in a halal way, Imam says. He has full of freedom. As long as it is not illegal, he has full of freedom to dispose his wealth. Another one, someone comes to the Imam. سأله رجل من أهل النيل, Egypt. Comes to Imam al-Baqir alayhi salatu wassalam, fifth Imam, and he says, I purchased a land. Then some people came after I purchased the land. They said to me, this is our land. This is our land. And this happens, it happens in many, many countries. You go and purchase the land, and after a while, you find out that the deed belongs to someone else, not that one. You have been cheated. They sell you a land, a building, they don't own it. The Imam says to him, لا تشتريها إلا برضا أهلها. Do not, this is Imam al-Baqir. Imam al-Baqir says, do not purchase the land, al-Baqir alayhi salam, لا تشتريها إلا برضا أهلها. Do not purchase a land except with the permission and the acceptance of the owner, the real owners of that land. And here we have something called in America, what do we have? Something called foreclosures. Many people ask, can I purchase this home? It has been foreclosed by the bank. Can I go and buy it and then renovate the house and sell it, or live in that house? What do you think? Foreclosures.
Yes. Belongs to the bank, you buy it. Bank is happy to sell it.
Does it belong entirely to the bank? 100%? Huh?
No.
Some people lived in that house for 5 years, 7 years. They paid mortgage. But then something happened. They lost their jobs. They couldn't pay for a few months. And the bank says, this is mine. This is the problem. If the bank owns the entire house, let's say it was zero down payment, and they paid whatever. The mortgage could be considered as a rent. Let's say $2,000 a month, you consider it as a rent. But if you had paid $50,000, you put 10%, let's say, then there is some problem here. In that case, you have to find, if you insist on buying the house, you have to find the owner and speak to the owner. And you have to get the owner's acceptance. إِلَّا بِرِضَى أَهْلِهَا. If you know that the owner had put some down payment, so he has some portion, he has some share in this property. If the property 100% for the bank, you go, because the bank is the owner. But if it has more than one owner, then you cannot purchase it unless you satisfy the previous owner. So this is the hadith. التمليك بدون إذن المالك باطل. Tamlik, to acquire the ownership, obtain the ownership of something, anything, land, materials, without the consent of the owner is not tamlik, is not considered tamlik, is voided, is invalid. In anything, buying a car, buying anything. Someone stole this and he's selling it in the market. Not necessarily he stole it. He took it from somewhere. Doesn't belong to him. He's selling it. And the buyer says, no, I don't want. This happens, this happens on a daily basis. It happens between friends, between brothers, in one family. Go to the court and see the cases. How many people they come and they sell things that does not belong to them. Neither is with the consent of the real owner. He's the real owner sitting in America, they sell his house in the Middle East. And they devour the money. And he's the last one to know. الناس مسلطون. So this is very, very powerful maxim, which is not respected in many, even Muslim countries. Even Muslim courts, they take away the properties of some people because, they are, in the opposition, they are away, they are. An example of that, the house that I was born in Karbala, it was taken away and sold. In fact, it was sold to a lady, and then the lady, just before, the collapse of Saddam, she found my father. For 20 years, she was sitting in that house. She never contacted us. She purchased the property from the government. It was auctioned. Then 1 month before the collapse of Saddam collapsed in April. In March, she sends a fax, I remember a fax, to my father. How she found his number, I don't know. That, Sayyid, I'm sorry. Now I want to sit and negotiate with you after 20 years. My father said, inshallah, we are coming soon. We will meet face to face and negotiate. And of course, it took him 3 years to evict her from the house. But of course, the government, ta'weed, they did...
Exchange.
No, not exchange. No. Restitution. They paid her. They paid the money that yeah. So this happens, it happens everywhere. Things are sold without the consent of the owner. That type of transaction is invalid.
Excuse me, sir. This reminds me of a case in Iran during the Shah land reform. They purchased the land without the consent of the
Yes.
owner.
I heard in Mashhad when they expanded the shrine of Imam Rida,
Yes.
the governor, Waliyan, whatever,
Yes, very
he used to force people to sell.
right.
And many of them, they said, we don't want to sell. But here, there is another point. If they are expanding the shrine, or they want to build a highway here, railway, highway, something for the welfare of the whole community. It is happening now in Iraq. I remember in Karbala now, the shrine of Imam Hussein is purchasing the surroundings, hotels, shops. Some people say we don't sell. You can't say we don't sell because here, they are expanding. It's not becoming a private property, public property. They want to expand the shrine. So they went to the alim. They took the case, not to the court, to the marja. So the marja gave this answer. He said, on this land, who came first to this land? Imam Hussein or the owner of this house? Who owned the land here? Of course, Imam Hussein, 1300 years ago. He was the first settler. In fact, Imam Hussein, he purchased the land. When he arrived in Karbala on the second day, 4,000 dinar from the tribe. He said, I want to own this house, this land. So the alim said they came later. So the priority goes to the first settler in this land. Imam Hussein was, and then they came later. Because of him they came. Because there is a shrine they came. And the land went up. Because of the shrine of Imam Hussein. So sometimes it's for the general welfare. In that case, you cannot say ghasb. You have to sell. We give you the market price, fair price. Some people say, give me, I don't want money, give me another. Okay, we give you another. So they have to do a settlement. Yeah, restitution. Until they are satisfied. Give him another piece of land, help him to build that land. But to say, no, I'm staying here, I don't want my house to be demolished, this is not a solution. This is not a aqil, reasonable solution.
In China, they show a picture of a freeway being built. And
Diverted, there is a highway, really?
no, and there is
skyscrapers?
a house in the middle, but they dig inside, and the house is like a column, and then you see the house because the guy refused to.
Ajib.
Oh, yeah?
This is in China?
Sorry.
China, there is no democracy. They can throw him in the ocean. We have this case in Najaf. I don't mention the name on the camera. One of the ulama's house is very close to the shrine. He refused. So they left the house, but they remodeled the house. From outside, it looks like a museum. The house exactly in the middle. He said, no, I will, if you touch the house, we will do this. And they were afraid. So they left the house as a museum. They could not say anything. In a country where some people are above the law, these things happen. But when everyone is under the law, people are equal, then you can work. Okay, now a question before we conclude. If someone took a house, a property, a ranch, whatever, farm, غصباً, by force, does not belong to him. And then he stayed there for so many years. In that case, when we come to restore things back, to give the house, the property back to its original owner. In this case, should we let the ghasib to go and tell him, may Allah bless you, inshallah, don't do this again? Or there are some compensations entailed here. They say, if this house was rented, let's say, how much was the rent for these 5 years, 10 years when he was occupying it? He has to pay the rent. Or the house was not rented, let's say. The house went in value, went up in value. Let's say he was sitting in that house, he took the house by force, year 2000. From year 2000 until 2010, 10 years, the value went, let's say $100,000. Okay? Then it went back to 220, let's say, to the same price. Same price. It was 500,000. It went up to 600,000, up 100. Then it went back to 500,000 again. So he was sitting from 2000 until 220, 2 years from now. The price, let's say it's the same. It went back the same. Between 2000 and 2000, 500,000. But at some point, it went 100,000 up.
I think the owner has the right to ask him for compensation for that.
Yes. The owner has the right to say, you are living in that house without my permission. You took it away from me and the price went up 100,000. I could have sold that house. You spoiled that opportunity because you were sitting there. Though the price now, when I'm evicting him, is the same, but he can ask for that increase. He can ask him for that increase even if he's not selling the house. Or he can ask for the rent, 20 years. How much is the rent? You pay me the rent of these years that you occupied the house. A question now. إذا شك في أصل التملك. We have doubt that this man, Haj Fulan, is the owner of this house. We have doubt. We have a doubt. We don't know. We don't know, is he the owner or not? فهل يتمسك بالقاعدة لإتيانه? Can this maxim, the maxim of sultana, the maxim of full control over the property, can it help us here? If we have doubt that Haj Fulan is the owner or not the owner, I don't know. Can this Maxim, help me here. Could it be of use?
It goes back to the amwalahum. We're not sure if it's the property of Panchvala.
Exactly. We don't know. So this one does not work here. This one works when you are sure that he is the owner. But before you are sure, this one is of no use. Does not. Why? For a very simple reason. I write the reason here. لأن التسلط فرع التملك. I'll explain it to you. لأن التسلط فرع التملك. Because tasallut, having control over the wealth or the property, is after making sure that it is his property. Tamalluk is after securing the ownership. When we secure that this is the ownership, then you can have full tasallut. Now, a question, fiqhi question, my friends. Dr. Ali, I'll summarize this. This maxim says, when you own something, you have full control and freedom over your wealth, the way you dispose it, except two cases. These two cases, provided that you don't hurt others with this money.
How about yourself?
Either way. You are not buying a poison to commit suicide. If you are buying a poison, we know we put a hold on your account. Or you are not buying a gun with this money to kill someone. If we know, we put a hold. We take the cash from you. Or it's not haram. You are not taking this bag, stash of money to Las Vegas for gambling. If we know, we can put a hold on it. We can seize the money. A question. What was the question?
Oh, no, thank you for that.
The question is, some people, they come and occupy an empty building which has an owner. Sometimes they don't know has an owner. They know someone owns it, but they don't know who he is. But sometimes they know. They know despite knowing. There is a chaos. Let's say in Venezuela, they're going to have, inshallah, Islamic Republic soon. And many people are going to flee Colombia and neighboring countries, and their homes are empty. So some people come and occupy the house. It's an empty building, empty house. It happens in all countries. This one happens. Some people come from another city and empty house, go and live there, that house. There is a law here in America or Europe. It says that if you live in a house and you pay the property tax of that house for some time, and you manage the house and you restore the house and you pay the bills and you do some remodeling, then after some period of time, if there is a case against you in the court, you will win the case. Probably you will win the case. Because you have been maintaining the house, paying the bills, the property tax. What does Islam say about this? Someone occupies a house, empty house, which has an owner. He doesn't know the owner. The owner fled the country. And he maintained the house, took care of it, paid the taxes, the bills. And then after 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, the owner himself, the waratha, the inheritors, they came and they said, this is our house. Give it back. What do we do in this case?
They have to make some kind of a settlement,
Such as?
paying the rent, paying the increase, something that satisfies the difference.
No, I mean, do they have the right, first of all, before the, to evict him, to get the house back?
Oh, the one that back there,
The tenant,
the tenant.
the one who lives in this house, and he didn't get permission to live in this house.
So if they
He
were
lived in this house for 40 years, let's say. And now the owner all of a sudden came back.
for any reason,
Yeah, he came back. He's free to come back. He couldn't come back before because it was dangerous. Now the government has changed and he came back, or the rules have changed. And he wants his property. He says, this is my building.
That was the question, like, should he take it back?
Yeah, can he? Or here, they say, but this guy is living here for so many years and he's maintaining the house and he's spending on the house.
I would say that the owner should go back to the owner.
Huh?
Should go back to the owner.
Immediately?
I don't know about immediately. I mean, there should be
And the tenant who maintained the house and spent on the house. He spent on the house, he remodeled, he,
I think he can
paid
get
the
it-
bills.
He can get it back, but he has to compensate the tenant for the time that he.
Compensate the tenant.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I said, like I said, there must be a settlement.
Mm.
The owner is entitled to get the property.
Okay.
However,
Uh-huh.
he can rent charge at the same time. If he spends money on the maintenance of the house, he has to pay the tenants the maintenance. So he owes some money and he has to get some money. They have to sit down and figure it out.
What do you think?
That's a hard one. I mean, I would say the owner should be able to take it back whenever he wants because he's the original owner. He never gave permission for the person to come in.
Okay. And then the second part.
Well, he used it already. He benefited out of it for the time he was in there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like he didn't get benefit at all.
Mm-hmm. So the money he spent on the house, he benefited from the house.
Right.
So if he paid the property tax or paid the bills or renovation, he lived in that house.
Right.
So in this case, what should he just takes the house back and no compensation between them? Only he just gets his house back?
Yeah, in a way, he had a good deal because
Who has the good deal?
the one that
The tenant.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Because
He sat there for free,
right. No
but he
rent.
paid the bills.
But he would have paid those anyways. He would have paid rent and the bill somewhere else to live the same.
So they don't pay him anything.
I would say, depending what he built in there. But I was thinking in general, if it's just bills and tax, I would say no.
What do you think?
I think that he should be taken back.
Okay.
There's no compensation.
We all said the owner will take it back. But then after that, does the tenant pay something to the owner in return for the rent of 40 years? Or does the owner should pay the tenant because he took care of his house, he paid the bills, he renovated, he property tax, he kept it safe, no thieves came into the house, no burglary, no ransack, no... What do you think?
Settlement. They have to settle.
Settlement?
Sit down and see who benefited how much.
I think
What do you
I
think?
that the guy who has been staying there has been using the place for living, and this is his compensation already.
And then the Maxims has full control over one's wealth. So it's his wealth. So he should have full.
Whose wealth?
The owner, the original owner.
The original owner, yeah. In this case, my friends, they evict him and then they ask him for rent, even if he spent for renovation, bills, property tax, because the owner says it without my permission. Who told you to pay the property tax? Did I ask you? Did I come to you? Did you ask my permission? Someone comes and pays your home's bill, your neighbor. And then he comes, he says, reimburse me. Would you reimburse him? Maybe if you like to help him, you do, but you are under no obligation because this is fuduli. They call it fuduli in the fiqh. An intruder, he did something on your behalf. Why did you pay, my bills?
Right.
I never asked you to pay my bills. I never asked you to pay my property tax. You came, you intruded,
Right.
into my house.
I mean, in the case, for example, the guy builds a room,
Even if he
puts
builds,
air conditioner,
even if he builds,
and
these things,
air
Hamid,
conditioner is over, the owner shows up.
Hamid, these things happened without the consent of the owner. Even if he added a value to the house.
Even if the tenant says, I couldn't find you?
No, see, that is something different. If he goes into a house and sometimes he doesn't care even to contact the relatives to look for the owner, he doesn't care. That's a chaotic situation. Chaotic. He came and the house is empty. He didn't even care to ask whether this house is leased, is purchased, is sold, who's the owner, is he dead, is he alive? He was reckless. He was careless. He was an opportunist. He found the house and without even trying to make his stay there legitimate, he took advantage. All of a sudden now, after 40 years, the owner is there, standing above his head. So the owner has the right for full compensation. But the compensation, of course, the owner cannot tell him, give me $20 million back for reasonable price of the rent. Let's say a rent, how much this house is rented a year, he can ask for that one. Even if the tenant made improvements without my permission, I don't care.
So Maulana, it also then apply for a land that someone said, oh, it doesn't, like for Qa'adat Tahajjur. He does the fencing and then he thought, and he make some development.
No. See, we said, Haj Nadeem, we said Tahjir when the land has no owner. No owner.
Yeah.
Now, if by mistake it happened to have an owner, this is a mistake. It was not a deliberate act. Mawat, the land was Mawat, outside the city, has no owner. Then if someone comes, he brings a paper that this is from Hadrat Adam alayhi salam, I own this, from that time. That's a different story. We are speaking this example. He knows this property has an owner. Either he knows the owner or he doesn't know the owner, but it has an owner. Now some homes, I think in Detroit, Dr. Ali,
Yes.
I've seen some homes are deserted.
Yeah.
They burn them during the Halloween.
Right.
Do you know that?
Yeah, there's a lot of burned down houses
Yeah.
downtown. Yeah.
They are deserted.
Yeah.
So it could be if the house is completely deserted and it has no owner, then someone would occupy that house. He says the house is deserted. Nobody is interested in this house.
Right.
We said, one of the maxims we read, if I leave this knowingly, not that I forget, I leave it. I leave my phone, I leave my dress, my jacket. I leave it in a hotel room, not because I forgot. I don't need it. Someone can come. Raf'ul yad. This is qa'idat raf'ul yad. I remove my hand. I leave the car. Some people, they desert the car, they abandon it. Okay? It happens in many countries. They go to somewhere in the desert, they abandon the car. Someone comes and gets this car, or the animal, or whatever. That is different. But in this case that we studied, it has an owner. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.